Hi guys, today I'm going to show you how to make a lemon and lime cheesecake. You could miss out the lime if you want to and just make it a lemon cheesecake, but I think this adds a little something extra. And all you have to do, you can either buy or you can make some lemon curd. And I'm just going to insert here a little quick demo of how I make my lemon curd. But if you want a full video, check out the link below. I've got a video on how to make lemon curd in detail. The first thing that we're going to do for our really quick curd is add in 125 millilitres or half a cup of lemon juice, which I've strained to make sure that it's completely smooth. And I'm also going to add in 1 cup or 125 grams of white sugar, and we're just going to heat this over a pot of water until the sugar has pretty much dissolved. So that's going to take a few minutes. Much of the sugar has dissolved, not all of it, but quite a lot of it. So now I'm going to add my 2 eggs, and you need to stir the whole time. You're going to need to stir for a good 5 minutes. And I'm now turning the heat off. I'm turning the heat off because this is an electric hob, and so it's going to retain the heat. If it's a gas hob, then just turn it down really low, and we're just going to stir it. We don't want to scramble the eggs, so we can't have the heat on too high, and you have to keep stirring. That is the #1 rule. But once you've gone for about 5 minutes, you'll be okay to then just stir it occasionally for every 5 or 10 minutes after that. In total, this part is going to take about 10 to 15 minutes. I've switched to a spatula now, and as you can see, it coats the spatula. So what you need to do now is take it off the heat, and we're going to add the butter and the zest. In this bowl, I've got 50 grams of butter, and I've got the zest from 4 of my lemons. The amount of zest that you add is completely up to you. Obviously, the more you add, the more lemony it's going to be. So just think about that. And I'm passing this mixture now through a sieve, and what that does, if you have any like eggy bits where maybe you hadn't whisked quite quick enough, it catches them. You don't have to sieve it, but I strongly recommend it. The butter has started to melt, so you can see the zest in there. All you need to do now is stir it until the butter's melted, wait for it to cool down, and then pop it covered in the fridge. For us to get started making the cheesecake, the first thing that we need to do is make the base, and it is really simple. I have blitzed up some biscuits in this bowl, 350 grams worth, give or take. In here I've got digestive biscuits with just a few ginger nuts thrown in. You can use just digestives, hobnobs work really well, which are like an oat biscuit. Digestives I think are most similar to, in America, graham crackers or graham crackers. So what you need to do is just blitz those in a food processor. Alternatively, you can put them in a Ziploc bag and bash them with a rolling pin. And this is literally the consistency of sand. It's very smooth. There's hardly any bits that I've missed. And what you need to do, I've got in here some melted butter. Now I've actually melted 130 grams worth. And I never find that it's the same amount exactly every time. So don't add all of it all in one go. Just add some and stir it in. You can see there that when I push down now, it's holding its shape. That's what you want. So keep going until you get to that stage. Now I do have some melted butter left over that I haven't used. Not a lot, but I will show you it. We're looking at perhaps a couple of tablespoons. So depending on the biscuits that you've used, you might need all of it or you might need more of it. So just don't add it all in one go. Otherwise you're going to need to add some more crushed biscuits to bring it back, because if it gets too soggy, the texture isn't right. The bottom of your cheesecake is going to have this really oily texture and it just doesn't taste right. So if you have added too much, then just crush up some more biscuits and add it to bring it back. Right, that's now ready. I've got a 9-inch cake tin, spring form. I've just lined the bottom. You don't need to. With a cheesecake, you don't necessarily have to, but it's just something that I like to do. And we're going to push this down. And one of the things that I do like to do is bring the base up the sides, but you don't need to do that. You can just push it all into the bottom if you want to. I'm just pushing it down. I like to make sure that I really get the edges, so just push it down and work it until you've got nothing loose on the edges. And I often go up the sides, and if you're going to do that, what you'll do is you will move a lot of it from the centre and you will bring it up the sides and you'll just push. So you'll bring it from the centre, up and push. So you guys will have seen me do that on most of my other cheesecakes, but I've just decided to just do it the regular way this time. And you just want to make it so that it's flat. So once you've done most of it with your spatula, you can then really get in there with your fingers. Make sure that you've cleaned your hands and your nails before you do this. You really need it to be really compact in here. If it's not compact, then when you cut it, you get lots of loose bits that come off. It doesn't hold its shape properly. Okay, so as you can see, it's pretty much flat. I'm holding it up, there's no crumbs. That's because I've really made sure that it's really compacted in there. So while we start on the actual cheese mix, I'm going to pop this in the fridge for 5 minutes so that it can make sure that it's completely cool. To make the cheesecake part, you are going to need about 400 grams of whipped cream. This is double cream, otherwise known as heavy cream, and I have whipped this up until it's really stiff. And to that, I'm going to add half a cup, or around about 65 grams of icing or confectioners sugar. And I'm just going to mix this in now, just whip it really quickly. I've now mixed the icing sugar in. To that, we're going to add 800 grams of full fat cream cheese. In my bowl, I've now got my cream cheese, and I've just used a microplane, which is a really fine grater, to zest in 1 lime. You can do 2 limes if you really want to. Works out really well as well. You're just going to have a really citrusy cheesecake. So we're just going to mix this together now until it's smooth. And you might find that it's a bit easier to do this if your cream cheese is at room temperature. So for double cream, you need that to be really cold to get to full volume. But for cream cheese, just for this to be really smooth, you'll find that's better at room temp. This is now the cheesecake mixture, and I can transfer this into my springform tin, which I'm just going to take out of the fridge now. I've put in about half of the mixture. The reason that I was pushing it all the way into the edges was to try and reduce the chance of getting any air holes. So I would recommend that you don't add the whole lot all in one go. You add it in stages and you really make sure that you push it all the way around the edge. You just want to get a nice even layer over the top, and if you've made my recipe you'll definitely have enough to do this. Okay, one of the things that I would recommend before you put it in the fridge, because you're pretty much done now, is, there we go, is to wipe a finger and just get it in like this all the way around. The reason this is a good idea is because you will find it much easier to get it out of the tin if you have tidied up this line here, because this is spring form. If there's anything caught on the top, it's going to pull it, it won't look quite as nice. So just put a finger in and run it around the edge and pop it into the fridge. Because this is a cheesecake, I would strongly recommend that you make this at least 4 hours before you want to eat it. That's really going to give this an opportunity to set and develop. In an ideal world, you'll make it the day before you want it or the night before, because actually 12 hours later, 24 hours later, this cheesecake is amazing. Another great thing about this cheesecake is once you've put it in the fridge and it's set for 4 or 5 hours, you can take it out and you can cut it into smaller pieces, put them into individual little boxes, or you know, one big box if you want, and pop it into the freezer. And as long as that box is really well sealed, you can freeze this for a month or two, and it's really lovely. You just take it out a few hours before you want to eat it. So I really hope you give this a go. I'm going to finish just tidying up these edges here, and I'm going to put it in the fridge, and then I will show you what this looks like when it comes out. And believe me, it's worth the effort. It's such a good cheesecake. It's been 3 hours now, and I just wanted to take this out to show you. Normally I would leave it a little bit longer, but the light is going, so I'm just going to show you now. And I actually have a little blowtorch. You don't need to do this, but if you do this, you might find that it comes off a little bit easier around here, because we're just going to heat the edges, and it allows everything to sort of smoothly come off. So if I just switch this on, and I'm just going to go around the outside. Don't spend a lot of time on each section. Okay, so I think I've gone now around the whole lot. And this is spring form, so I'm just going to loosen this. And lift it off. And that's my cheesecake. This is the cheesecake. As you can see, it was really simple. If you want to make it even simpler, don't use a homemade curd. Just go and buy one from the shop, but make sure that you buy a really good quality one. So I really hope that you've liked this video. Thank you very much for taking the time to watch it. If you've got any questions, please feel free to ask. Any comments, feel free. If you liked it, thumbs up. And if you want to catch more, then please like and subscribe. Thanks very much for watching.